Welcome to Ready to be Romanced. I'm Tori.
And I'm Becky.
And today we're discussing the
hating
game.
game.
Welcome back to RTBR. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. It is such a thrill to be back. I have to say, I feel like a lot of my favorite books lately have been discussed with you. Like, just this book was so fun, and the previous episodes that we discussed books, like those books still stick with me. So you're like my lucky charm in a way.
Okay, I love that because I feel like, especially one of my friends, Haley, every time I recommend a book or she reads it because of this podcast, she's like, it was the worst book I've ever read. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I feel like it's always like, because like we read The Worst Guy, we read On Honeymooners, and like, I don't know what it was, but like both of those books, like I still talk about.
Me too.
Maybe it was just like, yeah, like my state of mind when I was reading it, and it was just like the panacea I needed. But I'm just like, I think we're each other's good luck book charms.
I know. I like that because I'm not for a lot of other people. So
same. Oh my God, same.
Well, on your podcast, Too Stupid to Live, you're covering $5 romance novels.
That is correct.
So I feel like you run the gambit of like, gambit.
You sound smart. Sounds right to me. You couldn't say anything. I feel like, look at her.
I feel like when you have a book podcast, you're like, you gotta nail the
I know, but this just like goes to show you that like I feel like people always equate books with like this academic world, and
it's so pretentious.
Exactly, it's not that at all. Like,
I know
you could be really dumb and like me and be a reader.
No, that's like me covering some of the romantasy like books. I'm like, oh, I don't know what happened like at all. Like,
and that's fine.
Yes,
like I feel like reading isn't limited to like one type of person.
Totally, yeah. That's true. What have you been covering lately on your pod? Or like, do you have any good reads so far in 2025?
Yeah, so on the pod, I've been kind of going a little bonkers with the monster romance. I'm not gonna lie, the high concept stuff.
Yeah.
So this month we reviewed a retelling, the Katie Robert Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Love,
which was so much fun. I think it might have scared the guests, but we had so much fun discussing it. And then we reviewed the second Mothman book I've ever read, like a Mothman monster romance. And it ended up being like, honestly, like better than like human on human, like just in terms
like,
of, like,
it usually is.
It usually is, but it was just like this really like the Mothman. I mean, I could talk about this for hours, but like the Mothman was like, as a sex worker in this world, and he just like the way he understood like consent and human sexuality and like what pleasure means and his growth. I'm like, he is a Mothman, and he is more fleshed out than Christian Grey in all three of these.
Literally,
you know what I mean?
Literally. Okay, I have to read that. It's so funny though. I was like, do I draw the line at Mothman? Like, I will read Reverse Harem. I'll read any monster book.
Mm-hmm.
Any kink book, but is it moths that is it a Mothman that I draw the line?
Yeah, I think for me, like I have yet to read anything with like a snake. Like, I don't like snakes,
right?
And I don't like cockroaches.
Yeah.
And like, so the moth was like the closest like bug based thing that I've gotten to, and that's not even real, But yeah, so I feel like it's like there's some things that if you just find like icky and uncanny, it's like, okay, reading the monster romance version of it is like, learning to ride a bike for the first time, and you're gonna be so proud of yourself.
I was just gonna say, maybe it's kind of like exposure therapy.
Like, that's exactly it. Yeah.
That's
absolutely
so funny. That's so funny. I've yet to read like a sentient pumpkin man or like s'more or like whatever those books are that I see on TikTok, but I'm sure it's coming down the line at some point.
It's gonna happen. You're just gonna be one of those days where you're like, I've read the whole world, I need something else.
And suddenly that's what I pick up.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we should get into it. Spoiler
yes,
warning for everybody. We're going to be discussing The Hating Game and its movie adaptation, so spoilers ahead. The book is written by Sally Thorne, and it was published August 9th, 2016. I will say, it doesn't read like a 2016 book. I thought it like stood the test of time, and I never say that for 2016 books.
I mean, yeah, I feel like in my brain there's pre 2016, 2016,
Yes.
and then like pandemic and stuff. But it's like,
Yes.
oh, I couldn't believe that these characters have been through the 2020 pandemic. Like, yeah, like it's not like they've both been through some shit, you know, that we all,
Totally.
this collective trauma.
Totally.
Yeah, I like first, like I originally thought it was 2020 because the movie came out in 2021. So I was like, oh, maybe it came out in 2020. But yeah, I didn't realize it was 2016, which is like a whole different era.
Totally. And our main character is Lucy Hutton, who is an executive assistant to a CEO of a publishing house. And she works across the, I guess, hall or space from her mortal enemy, Josh Templeman. Oh my God. By the way, my brother's name is Josh Feldman. And so it was really hard for me to, it was so hard. So if I don't call him Josh, that's why. I love it. That's so funny. And he's also an executive assistant to the other CEO because they had to do a big merger because the book industry was flopping. Mm-hmm. And one side, I guess the Gammon publishing side, is like very what we would, if we ran a publishing firm, a publishing house, it would be, you know, passionate about books, magic, like warm, cozy vibes, artsy, creative. And then there's the Bexley side that's like sales, money, gray, glass, power, suits.
Yeah, like it's like the people they don't, it makes it seem like they don't even read the books.
Exactly. Like, they truly don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they hate each other.
Right. And just so everyone knows, you're using air quotes with hate.
I'm using air quotes because they are fucking crazy. Like, I just want to say,
nuts.
Yes. Can we just actually talk for like 2 seconds about how Lucy and Josh are fucking freaks?
Thank you. And like, this is what I love about this trope is that enemies to lovers makes the characters are insane because they are so obsessed with whatever they don't need to be obsessed with. And like, honestly, I like it because it makes me feel better as a person when I get like crazy about things. It's like, okay, I'm not the only one.
Literally.
Not like absolutely nuts, and I get it, and I would be too if I were in that situation.
The way that Lucy describes Josh, I was like, I would be that crazy too. Like, yes.
And like the fact that like she remembers the order of like when he wears his shirts, like I like the fact that she doesn't get the 2 blues confused, you know, like I'm just like, you can we also talk about how great your mind is? Like,
no, I know.
A prodigy.
I know, they're both like extremely type A, and like they clearly are like not neurodivergent, or like neither of them have ADHD or anything.
No. Yeah, I think they are just like so like wrapped up. Like I think a big part of the thing is that like a big theme in the book is that like you can't hate someone if you don't love someone. And I think it's like, oh, these 2 people confused love for hate, and they were just so in love with each other when they met. They didn't know what to do with themselves, and they just went nuts. And that's the fun of the book.
It truly is. They like copy each other. They're always one-upping each other. They have like rude nicknames. Like she calls, I guess she just calls him like Joshua.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I guess everyone else says Josh. And then he calls her Shortcake because she grew up on a strawberry farm.
Yes.
The other bone I have to pick, and then I will stop being negative.
No, it's totally cool. Oh my God. Because strawberry farms are weird, but yes, go on.
But she's like, I'm so like quirky because I grew up on like a strawberry farm, and I was like, no, I feel like no one cares about that. Like,
I know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like she kept being like, I'm so like hillbilly or whatever. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think anyone's saying that.
Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of more interesting. Like, you know, like she is so lonely and quirky. And it's like, oh, there was like another backstory to that because she was always such a bookworm, and like she only had work friends. And then the merger happens and now she has no friends. And it's like, that stuff is like, that's what makes you quirky. It's not necessarily the strawberry farm.
The strawberry farm, and that you're like uncharacteristically short. Like,
yes, which everyone, like, I mean, that to me, I was like, welcome to my life. Like,
No,
yes.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like I'll also say we are quirky girls,
Hmm.
but like if you're like someone asks me, Tori, what are your quirks, I'm not gonna be like, well, I grew up on like on a farm that my parents worked at, and like I'm 5'1". Like,
Exactly. I would be like, I enjoy watching really weird cleaning videos at 3 a.m. You know, like that's what makes me quirky.
yes. I just read a Mothman book.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, and it's all I think about. I mean,
yes,
technically, I do have ADHD, so I do blame
me
that.
too.
Yeah. So I am like, okay, it helps with the quirkiness, but no, I
Yes.
feel like it is just like the weird fixation. It's like people's weird fixations that make them quirky. It's not
Totally.
necessarily like the the location where they're from. That means like
Totally.
every farm child would be weird, and they're not.
I know. I was like, yeah, like the quirky thing is that Josh's shirt rotation. His quirky thing is that he has a shirt rotation. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And that he knows that you know, and that's what's so hilarious about it is
yeah.
that like they both like are playing these quote unquote games and like doing, and that is their way of showing love, and I love it as an immature person myself. I love it.
I know, it's so like schoolyard banter,
Hmm.
and like it's just really funny when she's like, the way that you win is you either like make the person laugh or cry, and like it's always like, I'm gonna beat you at this and stuff. It is really fun. But they find out that there's a new job opening at the company, chief operations officer, and both Mr. Bexley and Helene
Elaine? Oh, yes.
Elaine? I don't know.
Elaine?
She's French.
Yeah.
And I listened to
Hmm.
the audiobook, so I should have nailed that name. It's like, I think it's like Helen Bonham Carter vibes.
Yeah, yeah.
But they are basically both to Lucy and Josh, like, you're applying and getting this job because you basically do this stuff for us already.
Hmm.
Um, that would make the other person's boss. So
Hmm.
they both really, really, really want it.
Yeah, and they both decide like they both have these like a huge amount of hubris. Is that the right word? I don't know. But like this pride that like if they decide like if you're gonna get this job and I don't, I have to leave. You can never be my
Yes.
boss. I will never bow down to
I
you
will
in the corporate
resign.
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like a big thing. So when like they have this game, they're not only like competing for superiority, but like competing for a job. And that's like I mean, I guess this is 2016 and maybe there were more jobs available, but
Yeah.
it's a scary thought.
Yeah. No one's doing that in 2025. You're
No,
right.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so true. And at the meeting that the CEOs announced this, Lucy actually meets this cute designer, and it's his
Mhm.
last week of work. But she's like, oh my God, I wish I'd met someone like him sooner because he's like so nice and cute and
Mhm.
funny, and like we work in like, similar
Mhm.
industries. And he's like blatantly flirting with her.
Yeah. He seems like on paper, like this is the like in a different book, he'd be the guy, you know?
Totally,
If it were
100%.
friends to lovers, like he'd be
Yes,
the
yes, exactly. And she feels like a spark of like, oh, like this could be something because I literally have no friends and no romantic prospects because I work so
Mhm.
hard and everyone kind of treats me like a doormat. So I like basically only like can do this job and then like go
Yeah.
home and sleep. Poor girl. But things take a turn when Lucy has a sex dream about Josh. Isn't this classic? Like,
Classic sex dream.
yes. And she is so disturbed. She is so disturbed, but she is equally like, I think she feels like she has to win, and how she's like, oh my God, I'm horny for this guy. How can I win? I'll make him horny for me. So the next day she goes into work in the shortest black dress.
Hmm.
And Josh immediately questions it, and she's like, well, I have a date tonight. And Josh is like, oh, interesting. Like, I'm going out too. And they figure out that they both are going to the same place at the same time. But I didn't know. And, like, spoiler alert, if you are, like, reading as you go or whatever, even though I don't think anyone is doing that. But it's like, he thought that that was, like, their setup
Yes.
because he thought that it was fake, and that when he was sharing details that he was going there, he thought that it was for them to get together.
Yeah. He really did. Like, I think the whole like there's this whole thing of like, oh, you think he's such a dick. You think he's such a dick. And then he's just this sweetheart all along. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
I just said that's even stated in the book, you know. But yeah, it is just like a lot of like Josh puts himself in situations where he looks like a huge asshole.
Yep.
And he
Yep.
doesn't even realize, you know.
Totally, totally. And that like really plagues him throughout the book. Like he thinks he's such a bad guy. He thinks he's like mean, and he thinks women only like want him for his looks and stuff like that. And that is like really interfering with maybe one of the reasons why he doesn't choose to initially pursue Lucy.
Yeah, and I actually really loved that aspect because like I don't know, I feel like a lot of people are like they don't think that they can get past their mistakes. It's like
Yeah.
once a rake, always a rake, and you're just going to
Yes.
be a rake and like just like accept it. Like I don't know, I guess maybe in the point of my life now that touched me because it's like, oh, recognizing you can change and you're not defined by the one mistake you made in your past, you know.
Totally, totally. I liked that part. Lucy doesn't know that this is the conversation that Josh is having with her. She's not in that conversation.
No.
So,
And I love it.
I
They
love it
both
too.
are just in their own world and it's so great.
Totally. And like I relate to this so much.
Yes.
But she's like, fuck, I gotta like make dinner plans now. So she asks Danny to go out and he accepts. And I think it's like raining, her car's in the shop. So Josh offers to drive her. But plot twist, because again, I think he thinks that they're about to go on a date.
Yeah.
But in the elevator, he picks her up and kisses her. And it's like a hot, steamy, I love office romances.
Yes. Yes. I love them in books. In real life,
Yeah,
no
in,
way.
in real life, like please do not do
Never.
this. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I particularly loved like, you know, it was a really sexy like the elevator. I love a good stop the elevator, we have to kiss moment.
Yeah.
Like
Has that ever happened to anybody in real life? Weigh in if this has happened to you. And you're
please
like,
do. And like also, did you like I feel like if I were in a building and I just hit the emergency thing on the elevator, like you could you get a violation for like you know
yes,
how you,
it
like,
calls
is
911, I'm pretty sure. Like, I swear to God, it calls 911 immediately. Like, it
That is such a
dispatches
funny
911.
thing.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Like if I were reading a book and that happened, and then like it's like they kiss when they stop the elevator, but then they come down and there's just like the fire.
Yeah, the
companies there.
the firefighters. No, seriously, because I'm pretty sure it either dispatches an operator who figures out what's going on, or immediately like emergency services.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I'm claustrophobic. I would actually hate this.
I know. There's the lack of like I hate it when like if there was like an AC inside, like I need airflow.
Yes,
I guess is my
yes,
point.
yes,
And
yes.
so with no airflow, it's like it's stuffy. I can't be sexy in there.
No, definitely not. But he drops her off and she's like shocked. She like doesn't know how to function. She can like barely sit in the car.
Yeah, because she just had like the most amazing kiss in the entire world.
And she's like a touch starved.
Yeah.
Like love her. I've been there. But like
yeah.
she's like she is kind of freaking out. To the point where she leaves her jacket in the car. When she sees Danny, she like almost falls off the chair and can't even answer like the most simple of questions that he's asking her. So she has to go to the bathroom to like calm herself down, and Josh runs in with her jacket, and he is clearly so jealous.
Yes, he is mad because like obviously like he's not only jealous, but like his plan is whatever.
It's foiled. His plan is foiled.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also like I feel like she gets upset because Danny says she looks beautiful, and like that isn't that it?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
And that kind of is like
that's also like kind of triggering.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like what you were talking about is like, oh, she hasn't been kissing forever, but she hasn't been romanced in forever. And I think maybe that is like whatever.
Yeah. But she, I guess, has a nice date. And after the date, she gets a bouquet of roses. And it says, "You're always beautiful," which she thinks is from Danny because he called her beautiful.
Yeah.
But when she was freaking out with Josh, she was saying that she was freaking out because he called her beautiful.
Yeah. Or like he said, she looked beautiful today.
today.
And so Josh's response through the roses is like, no, you're always beautiful. And I'm just like, that, yes. There are moments in romances where like it's just like a specific phrase or a specific line that will stick with
Yeah,
me.
and this
And
is
it's just
it.
like that one was like up there with a lot of my favorite moments of like a romantic gesture is that like
It's
just saying you're
so
always
good.
beautiful.
I
Mwah.
know. It's so good. And
Yeah.
like, what do you think truly was the catalyst for Josh? Because I get one other like small criticism of this book is just like it does seem like all of it. It's like they've been working together for like over a year and
Mhm.
nothing's happened. What like popped the balloon? Because I feel like obviously thinks that well like that he kissed her, that he set up this like date, and that he sent her flowers, which she doesn't know all of that stuff. But like he all of
Yeah.
a sudden is pursuing her really hard.
Yeah, yeah. And like I agree with you. Like it kind of there isn't really like much of an inciting incident
Incident.
to like get him going. I mean, you do have his backstory of like he had a previous girlfriend, blah blah blah, and then he, always thought he wasn't the nice guy. But yeah, there wasn't like a moment that made that where he admits like, oh, it was when I don't know, you came in the dress, which that's not the right moment, but like or
Or like did he see Danny and her flirting in the meeting maybe?
yeah, yeah. It was like that. I mean, I guess for me, like I would want it like if he said the moment I knew I wanted to pursue you was when like you like accidentally dropped a Smurf figurine in the
Yes,
trash. I'm like,
yes,
yes,
yes. Okay,
Josh,
okay.
yes.
Also, quirky. That's quirky.
That is why you're quirky, lady, because of the Smurfs, not because of the farm. Are you kidding me?
And that you're so short. Like,
Yeah.
like
There are a lot of short, unquirky people.
girl, you collect Smurf figurines.
Yeah. And that's not the first thing you say when someone's like,
Yes.
why are you?
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
It's so funny. The office all heads to paintballing as a team bonding activity.
Mhm.
And Josh is super annoyed when Danny and Lucy are like flirting in front of him.
Mhm.
Loved this scene on the bus. Lucy and Josh are teamed up together for a bunch of the like paintballing. He's like super protective, especially when a colleague kind of takes it a little too seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
But then she gets like super ill.
Yeah. Like Lucy, which again, this is very funny of like, and I think I wonder if it kind of played more in the movie, but it made it seem like Lucy is like, no matter what, I am taking Josh down. I refuse to drink water, eat food, and do anything healthy all day. And I will not stop. And so she like essentially in a way like makes herself sick, which is
Yes.
like very fun.
Yes, yes. And she's like describing about how like the gear is so heavy, she's probably like dehydrated. Like she's just making
Yes.
probably it way worse than it would have been.
Yeah, and she probably like I think she even mentions that she ate like leftovers that probably had gone bad. So it's like everything she did was wrong
Yeah.
and like it and it's like again it's such a human. That's why I love Enemies to Lovers so much because it's just these human dumb mistakes that we all make when we're just
Yes.
like just when we think we hate someone.
Yes, yes. Or you have a crush on someone and you like are driving and miss a turn or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like when you get like obsessed with something where you like cannot think rationally, like that's the most human thing. And it's like that's what
Yeah.
I love about this.
Me too. So he takes her home and takes care of her overnight. She is like
Mhm.
ill. Like,
Yes, like he's holding back her hair as she barfs,
yes.
which I know that's like a scene in a lot of books. Like I feel like it's something that we've
It's a
read
trope.
before. It
Yes,
is a
yes,
trope.
yes.
I just like think if I'm throwing up, I want everyone to get away from me right now. No one can come near me. Like if for some reason that's just my thing of like if it's stomach related, everyone out.
Oh,
No
totally.
one.
100%. I would have died. And like she's so
Yeah.
sick that he's like changing her. Did she pee the bed?
Yes.
No, she didn't. But like
I mean,
basically, like
it's a good question though. Because like she does not get up from the bed, like she's in bed for a
she's
long time.
ill.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, Josh's brother, Patrick, is a doctor. And so he's able to do a little house call for her and get her some medicine. And he's hot too, of course.
Of course.
Lucy realizes this because they look alike. But as she's like coming in and out of consciousness, she is overhearing a conversation between Josh and Patrick about how he hasn't RSVP'd to Mindy and Patrick's wedding that happens to be that weekend, which is wild to not RSVP the week before.
What a shit. Like, honestly, like, I think that is such a shitty thing to do. Like, if, like, what is your, like, that is so, it's not, like, putting together a wedding is like having a part-time job. And like, if someone didn't RSVP until the week before, they're dead to me.
100%. Slash, like, you straight up can't do that. Like, the vendors need head counts. The hotel, well, was all booked. We do actually, that is true. But
yes, I mean, there is that. But then there's also like, you have to like sign liability issues and there's like insurance and stuff. I mean, again, we're looking in the minutia. It doesn't matter, but it is just the lack of, and this is a full wedding. It's not like, oh, we're doing a private thing in our backyard.
Yes.
Like, they're having a full on wedding that was obviously in the works. And it's like, you're not mad. Like, I'd be like texting someone every 5 minutes within 2 weeks of sending out my wedding invitation.
Of course.
If they did an RSVP.
Of course, absolutely. We do get Danny also checking in on her. So that's really nice. And he offers to pick her up from work. He's now off of work. So is able to pick her up and drive her. And she immediately is just like, this is not going to work. Like, I hate the casual clothes you're getting. He gets her daisies and she's just like, oh, like, okay, like, it doesn't hit like the red roses.
Exactly. He is just not the one for her.
Totally. But he does want to see her again. And she doesn't want him to do this, but he literally walks her to her desk. And so obviously Josh and Danny have like a little bit of a confrontation. And when he leaves, she notices a single red rose on her desk. And Josh reveals, because he's like, they're like getting into an argument. And then Mr. Bexley overhears and then reprimands them. And so he grabs the rose back and like reveals that he sent her the original roses, but he like cuts her hand too. Like, it is bad. It is really bad.
It is bad. Yeah. It's like, oh, your heart breaks a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And Lucy feels, because again, she's always worried that the power imbalance or like whoever's winning the race, like she cares so much about that. And she thinks it's uneven because he spent the night caring for her. So she goes, okay, well, I have to do you a favor because you did me a favor. So I'll be your +1 to Patrick's wedding. Naturally.
Right. Yeah, that's of course. You don't like me at all. I will go and spend a weekend with you. Yes. This is going to be great. You're welcome.
And she feels bad, so bad that she pulls him into a storage closet. And this is like really crazy because they do talk when she's sick that she like liked kissing him and like all of this stuff, but it's like really heating up. She's saying that like she doesn't like Danny in that way and that basically she wants to be friends with Josh or something. And and he's like, oh, like what's the or something? And they kiss.
Yeah, they have another kiss.
It's steamy. She says, put your hands on me. And he says, put them on you yourself or something like that.
It was so sexy.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminded me of this College Humor like sketch show that had like 2 seasons on YouTube back in like probably like 2010. And it was about colleagues hooking up and they would always be in like a storage room and stuff like that. So I was having those flashbacks because for some reason it's like I've worked in an office my whole life and it's like they're always in a storage room with like paper products and like toilet paper, and I was like, I don't even think we have one of those in our office.
And it's like they're just so conveniently unlocked. Conveniently like right when you're about to yell. Luckily the door's right behind you. Like I love it. And and it's like also like no one uses paper anymore. I mean, I guess some people use, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like this old school 90s office kind of setup where like this is stuff that no one uses.
Literally. He says, go on your date with Danny and kiss him. I want you to kiss him. And if you can tell me that their kiss wasn't as good as his, they can resume whatever game they're playing.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he gives her his address because they are going to a wedding together. So the date rolls around and they do have their first kiss, Danny and Lucy, but it's super meh.
Yeah, it's not obviously, which we all knew it would be.
But know what? I actually thought when I was reading this that Danny was going to like super pursue her and be weird, but he's just like, oh yeah, like I think we're both friends. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, he felt it too. It was kind of nice. Yeah, like it was nice. Like, oh yeah, like hashtag not all men.
Yes, yeah, literally. And then Lucy does the most insane thing, but like
again,
it's so insane.
Again, she's just is like, I have Josh's address. I am going to go to his house
and stalk
him. That is so insane. It is so insane. And I get it.
And like I've probably been there too, but she is looking at everything like cracks in the sidewalk and like the lights on the street and like the gym nearby, just envisioning what this man's life is like.
Yes.
But she still doesn't think she loves him. Like I always think like with enemies to lovers, I think there's always that tension of like, does it get so much that it's like you're actually just a dummy if you don't know this by now?
For sure. Yeah, because like I feel like when like as readers, like it's easy to get ahead of the story and you're just like kind of like waiting for the characters to be like, come on, let's do it, let's go here. I thought it was interesting because it was like she definitely owns that she's horny for him. The love thing, like the full on like I love him, like or like she
True.
reveals, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like she reveals that she's horny and like won't reveal that she's obsessed with him, which who wants to reveal they have weird obsessions with people? Fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like definitely like it was so clear that like she could have gotten around to the L word earlier for sure.
Totally. Because it came to such a surprise to her at the end.
Yeah, like she was like, because he says like when he says I love you, she's like, me?
Yeah.
And it's like, bitch, we just read 200 pages of this.
Yeah, she's like direct quote, she's like Josh is in love with me and I'm madly in love with him. And I was like,
yeah, and it's like, it was like almost like she was saying it as if there was another woman this whole time.
I know.
Just he's just having a different romance and he has to, and it's like
his mom wasn't like, oh, Josh calls me every week and I've heard about every fucking detail about your life. Like
exactly. Yeah. And like they know each other. I mean, at this point they have seen each other at their most vulnerable, from being sick to being naked. Like, and it's like, what, like, come on, Lucy. You're smarter than this.
But Josh texts her and says, how was the kiss? She doesn't respond, and then he finds her outside. And he doesn't think it's psycho. And that's when, like, they are matching each other's freak.
Yeah, because he is, let's not forget, he is insanely psycho.
Yeah.
Because like later on in the book when it's like they're kind of putting down their walls and they're kind of like mentioning like when they started liking each other, he was like, I fell in love with you the second day I met you.
Yeah.
That means there was a year of him psychotically being in love with this woman.
That's so fucking real.
Yeah, and so it's like, oh, that's insane too, where like it does like kind of equate with, okay, she went to his house, but like he was also suddenly believing in soulmates less than 24 hours after he saw you. Like, come on, you're both insane.
No, totally. That's why they're perfect for each other.
Exactly.
That's why this works. They kiss. He gives her the first date kiss, and she straight up tries to run away, but he drags her up, and she's like, okay, like, we're gonna have sex. Like, this is awesome. And he makes her tea. They watch ER together.
Love it.
But this is another like moment. She finds like a piece of origami that she made out of like a scrap of paper in his house. that she like was just like, you know, not doodling, but like fiddling during a meeting, made an origami, whatever. And that's in his house, and she's like, he hates me. Like,
yeah. And like there's also like she like, you know, a big like kind of symbol of what it is, like she has her red lipstick, you know, and she blots it, and he has the tissue, and like that's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
and the mints.
Yeah, the mints. And like even in the book, like when she describes him when he's like kind of, you know, like and at an intense emotional state, like she jokingly refers to it as serial killer eyes, and it's like this easily in a different genre could be a stalker novel. Like,
no, seriously.
And that's what I love.
Yes, I love on TikTok when they will like when people will edit a trailer of a movie that's like, you know, happy or whatever to a thriller.
Yeah,
people could do this with this book.
Absolutely. Like I one time was like looking at the dialogue to Silence of the Lambs, and then the dialogue in this like thruple book that I read. The same. They're the fucking same, you know? Like
yes.
Just like if you said the Silence of the Lambs stuff a little hornier.
Yeah,
like,
a little huskier.
That's definitely in the book. Like it's just so it's hilarious to me. And I love it. I love
funny.
it.
That's so fucking funny. So some time passes, but Lucy misses Josh so much that she calls him and asks if they could hang out. He's at the gym. She's at her house. They both, because they, again, fucking freaks, race home. And she's like, I won. And he's like, I got to the parking garage early. And like, so I won. And then he makes her dinner. She's like, okay, like now this is the time that we're going to have sex. And he's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I feel like you'll freak out if we have sex right away. I feel like you need to be eased into it. And I feel like also like this isn't that. Like, it isn't going to be like a one night stand.
Right. Yeah. She's kind of along the lines of like, let's just, if we get it out of our system, maybe this tension will go away.
Yes.
And he's like, no, I'm in love with you. That would make it everything even worse. Well, he doesn't say that overtly, but like, he's like, no.
Yeah. You're right. She's so blinded that she's like, if we just fuck, then I can go back to living my hateful life.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I like cannot have that.
That's what's so funny to me when people are like, oh my God, just fuck already. And it's like, are you thinking about the after effects of this?
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Then they have to like live the rest of their days knowing they fucked. Like,
literally. This is really hot. So one of the subplots is that Josh did a year of medical school, and his dad and his brother, obviously doctors. And so they do like a little doctor role play where he's like taking her pulse, and he's saying how, and she's like, oh, is this like a thing for you? And then he says that he does like when she dresses up as a sexy librarian, like, cause she's so buttoned up.
There was a lot of like body exploration in this, like within their first sex scene that I really liked, of like they give each other a tour of each other's bodies, you know, in this part, you know, and I'm like, this is hot.
You should have seen me. So I listened to part of this audiobook when I was like on a treadmill at my gym. And the way that, and audio, like this is an audio only platform, so this isn't going to play well on the pod. But the way that I was like walking on the treadmill being like, like hands on my forehead, and like there was parts I was like, like I was like aghast. If anyone would looked over at me, they thought something was going on. But like Sally Thorne can write a sex scene.
It's so well. And like she like takes her time with
that.
It. And
yes.
And like that is like one of the joys of romance novels, I think. And it's just like, I don't know. It was just like really delightful. Like even, I don't know, like human beings are always so in a rush, and everyone's saying you have to have sex 3 times a week. And so we are all just like rushing through it. And then it's like, oh, you read this and you're like, oh yeah, remember like slowing things down and like getting to know the situation, like giving ourselves time. Oh yeah,
I can't remember the last time that happened to me, but
I mean it's never happened to me, but sometimes but I did, because like I personally I'm always like, okay, but like
me too.
And so like I'm like, okay, if I ever do start dating again and I'm in a relationship, like I'm gonna remember this. I'm
No,
gonna
this was like
remember like to be in the
I
moment.
know, and it was like
Yeah.
sensual and like
Yes.
it was like good foreplay. But yeah, I was impressed, Sally
It
Thorne.
was so great.
It was
So
really
great. Like I
good.
feel like a lot like I mean, again, I know nothing about real life human relationships, but if like married people should read that and like be like
Yes.
reignite your thing if you're feeling like blah, you know.
Totally, 100%.
Again, I don't know what I'm talking about though, because I've been
Oh
single my
no.
whole life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm just
Happily.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just hypothesizing that
Yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
yeah.
For sure.
So the next day at work, they try to act normal, even though, you know, obviously something's going on with them. And we really see that Lucy and Josh like push each other, make each other grow because again, a lot of colleagues take advantage of Lucy by asking for like extensions and stuff. And Josh is like, you need to like nip that in the bud and like kind of not forces her, but like really encourages her to do that.
Yeah, like be like you're allowed to say no, or you're allowed to say like you can't do that, blah blah blah.
I also like in romance novels where it's like they make each other better. Like
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like so it's like part of the sport of the romance in a way of like, oh, these are the steps in order to get to that because you need a happily ever after, you get better. You know what I mean? Like it's like an important step along the way. I love it.
Exactly. He does like kind of revert when Mr. Bexley is there to his old self, and then she gets confused and upset, and then he gets more upset when she's upset, and it's like, oh my god, you guys, stop.
Like, oh my god, yes, yeah. It is like it does that stuff gets so frustrating, but I also love it.
Me too. I know. It is that tension. And she is prepping for her interview for the COO position, and they have to like do a presentation on how they could like, I don't know, like rework ebooks.
Yeah, like it's like some sort of like, yeah, like it felt read like, oh, we'll put like all of the books in our catalog that weren't ebooks, we'll just make them ebooks now, or something like that. It was like something and so inconsequential, but it was going to be big in the story, so
huge in the story.
Yeah.
And she does a mock presentation for Helene or whatever, and she's like, this is great, but you should punch it up by actually showing like an example of this. Could you get a designer to like fully action out your plan, and then it would really impress this super objective third party consulting firm that we have running the interviews.
Right. Yeah.
And so she asks Danny, who is a freelance designer, and he agrees. So he has to give her the rundown while they're meeting at a coffee shop near the office. Who walks in but good old Josh.
Josh.
Yeah. And it's so funny because Danny's like, oh, like he looks pissed we're like spending time together because he's in love with you. And she's like, what? Josh is in love with me?
And it's like, come on.
So funny. But they do say like immediately like we're doing something for our interview, so it's like confidential. We like can't tell you, but like nothing nefarious is going on.
Yes.
Later at work, Lucy overhears Mr. Bexley and Josh yelling about something, but we don't know what that is. Later we find out it's because he is interviewing for another job.
Right. Yeah.
But at the time she's just like, oh, these two guys are like fucking going at it.
Yeah, like the way they're talking, it's like making it seem that like she is getting in Josh's way or something, or like it's like kind of, it's like not directly targeted towards her, but like it is, and he's not saying anything. But again, this is all just like things are happening and she is interpreting it in the completely wrong way because she's insane.
And like doesn't ask that many questions to figure out the
yes, we are just jumping to conclusions without the right amount of evidence. It is what we do. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. And like, again, I'm right there with you, girl. Like, I'm like, don't worry, Lucy. Like, I would also be doing the jumping.
Yes.
So they head to the wedding. The boss sees them leaving together, and she's fucking stoked because she has also been like plotting to get them together.
Yes. She sees it. She has the wise wisdom the wise wisdom, you're welcome, of like these two need to get together.
I love how I didn't
even
even
though
clock that. Like I was just
yeah,
like, I was like,
the
yeah,
older woman with the wisdom.
totally. And she's like kind of confused about going on this overnight trip to this wedding, but he does admit that he does want her to come. So they go and they end up stopping at a diner for dinner. And he says, this, I was like fucking melting. He was like, this is our first date. Cause he talks about like, you should go out for
Yeah.
dinner. And it was so cute.
It was cute. He gets like very cute at this wedding weekend, you know, like I mean, again, that huge drama happens, but like just like the way, like just seeing them not at work, like was, I don't know, everything was so cute. It was
So cute. And he was always like touching her arm or like
Yeah.
just it was like very, very cute.
And they were just like asking each other's questions and like getting to know each
Yeah.
other more. And it was like, it was so nice.
It was. But they have a little like sexy moment in the car where
Mhm.
they're just talking about how like she has gorgeous eyes and like all this stuff, and he asks her if that sex dream or like that dream,
Yes.
yeah, what was about her, and she basically was like, I made up that dream. I wanted to like get back at you even though you didn't do
Mhm.
anything. Um the dream actually, it wasn't me running through a maze with mirrors or whatever she said.
Yeah.
It was you banging because what did he say? Like, I'm going to work you so hard or something
Yes,
like that.
yeah, or it's like it was like something again, serial killer slash sexy of like I'm gonna work you so hard you'll never know what's coming, or like something like that, where it's like if whoever, like depending on who's saying it, it could be the scariest thing or the sexiest thing.
It's so funny. Is that like a line that you like? Because for me, I was like, that doesn't get me like horned up. I'm like, I don't want to work that hard. Like, I don't.
Yeah, like you know, it's interesting. I think like for me, like I see it as like this like kind of like someone taking their masculinity and just dumping it all over you, and I it is
Right.
so scary to me. It's like watching, it's like literally to me, it's like watching a Magic Mike show where like a guy is being so overtly sexy. It's like unreal, you know, and you just want to like cover your face and scream and laugh. And like that's, and I love it.
Totally, because you're right. It's like something that, like, in a book that I'm like, okay, like this makes sense. But like, if someone said that to me IRL,
Yeah, like I mean that's just not real, you know?
yes, yeah,
Like
that's
it's just like no one
not
would.
real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that. Like if anyone said that, I'd be like, okay, well, if anyone said that, I'm likely visiting them in jail. Like let's be real.
No, seriously. Seriously. But she really liked it because she, again, freak, and she like loves being type A and like working, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and it just like if it suits her, it gets her blood boiling.
Yeah, so funny. Could not be me. They start being more truthful, and she admits that the date was fake and that she set it up because he was trying to call her
Yes.
bluff. And then
Hmm.
he says like it was supposed to be him. I like, usually this stuff does not work on me. I feel like I was like literally like screaming into my pillow.
Yes. Why does like, and that's the thing is like, why does this work so well? Like, this book is like, if I were teaching an academic class on romance novels and like our lesson was on enemies to lovers, like
Yeah.
this would be the book to use, you know? Like,
Yes.
it just, everything about it, like, I don't know what it is, like, with like every, like, do you know how easy we could have hated these characters?
No,
You know what I mean?
so easily. So
Like
easily.
easily could
Yeah.
have hated it, and we were just like rooting for them, and they're making every dumb mistake possible, and we just love them. We just love them.
Totally. That's so true. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I guess it's the enemies to lovers where usually the if it's a hetero couple, the like main male character like it's like almost like the miscommunication, like he thinks he's like putting himself out there or whatever.
Mhm.
She completely blows past it, and then he finally admits that he did this, and she's like, "Oh my god, like what?"
Yeah, yeah. Because like there's a lot of those books where it's like, I don't know, like, oh my God, just have a conversation and all
Yes,
this would be
yes.
done.
Yes.
But with like this, they're so headstrong in their own ways that like, no, shit really has to hit the fan. But and like that was, I guess maybe that's what was so enjoyable, is just like they weren't afraid. Like I feel like Sally Thorne wasn't afraid to make these characters be like ugly in a way, like where like they are just like saying things that make that if we said it, we would cringe, or like
Yes.
if we did this, like if we said this to someone, we would never be forgiven. You know, like it's just like
Yes.
they are just like kind of dipping their toe in like just ugly, like just not like not ugly, but maybe
Just
just like not
flawed. Like, these are my
exactly. Yeah,
foibles.
yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, thank you for saying something that I couldn't put my finger on, but that is exactly what I felt like when I was reading this book. I was like, they try to be so perfect and like flawless at their work, but they're obviously like deeply flawed, insecure at times characters. And watching them express vulnerability, or like, also like, people want to be so chalant.
Yes.
People want to be so cool nowadays. And like, I love that they were nonchalant. I love that they like, I get like they were saying, and sometimes I don't like this. I kind of actually put this in my grapes and grumbles, but like when they like immediately jump to like kind of like talking about like forever stuff, but they're still like, I don't know if I like you or whatever.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's always kind of a mismatch for me. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I liked their like almost like radical honesty in
Yes,
this book.
that's it. Radical honesty. I
Yeah.
think that was what was so refreshing, is that like they weren't like kind of is pussyfooting, or they weren't kind of like
Yeah.
circling around the fact that they want to fuck each other. They are just
They
so
said
open.
it.
Like
Yes.
they were like, I hate you so much and I want to fuck you so
Yes,
bad. And just
yes.
like it was so nice. It was so refreshing to
Totally,
read.
totally. Yeah, it was so refreshing because everyone's always trying to play it cool or not show their cards or anything.
Yeah, yeah. And these people were just like, you know what? I'm not gonna like, you know, something is not working in my brain right now, but I'm just gonna be so honest with you. I am not in a
Totally.
good place, but I really find you attractive.
Totally, totally. It was I really liked that.
Mhm. Yes, 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 yes.
And so they get to the hotel, and what do you know? There's only one bed.
I mean, we needed that, guys. We
we
needed it.
we truly needed that. So they go up to their room and they start hooking up, but Josh's mom calls because he needs to do some stuff for the wedding.
Hmm. Which, okay, again, his mom, like, why was he again RSVP'd 2 days ago, and now his mom's like, you need to help with this, and
You
it's
need to
like,
carry 45 bundles of flowers into the like something like
exactly,
that.
and it's
Yeah.
like you weren't gonna ask him to do this a few weeks before when you actually plan these things. Like, what? Okay, anyway, that's a grape. That's a grape.
That's a gripe. And also, he just drove 4 hours and stuff like that. Poor
Yeah, and
guy.
also like it's well the with the big reveal of who his brother is marrying. Like, I would be like, oh, like there was one time when I was like in college, and I remember like carrying up like a helping people carry an alcohol to their apartment to a party I wasn't invited to, you know, and it's like, what am I doing? You know, and it's
You're
like
so funny. You're so funny. No, but it's true. Like, why would they ask him when they know this wedding is a sore spot for him?
Mhm.
He only RSVP'd a week ago because it feels like low-key abandoned by his family and like not
Mhm.
loved by his dad. Like,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And then they're like, hey, can you do us a favor?
and do
Like,
some
like
manual
the mom is
labor.
very much aware about the situation. Like
Yes.
and then she's like, hey, can you do this? And I'm just gonna rub happiness in your face right now. Like,
Yes, and the mom knows that he's bringing Lucy, and he's actually obsessed with Lucy. So
yes.
why is she cock blocking? Like,
I mean, like, moms, and I love them, but like
yeah,
moms are nuts. And it's just like, again,
boy
like
mums,
boy
especially.
moms, boy moms are nuts. And it's just like, I don't know, like, who are you?
Yeah. No, seriously. Seriously. And so they don't do anything, they just sleep. And the
Mhm.
next morning they're discussing their past relationships. And this
Mhm.
is when my like sirens are going off. I'm like, oh fuck. Patrick is 100% marrying his ex.
Here's the thing. I clocked it so early.
Oh, really? When? Tell me.
The second they had the second that he was having she overheard the conversation
Oh.
in the kitchen, he's like, you know, this is going to be hard for me. And I'm like, he used to be in love with the wife. Like, I just like, well, two things, because it was like, if it's hard for you, if it's hard to like, he didn't want to, like, obviously there was some sort of heartbreak here and he wasn't in love with his brother sexually. So like I think in my brain it was like, but then to be honest with you, in the Mothman book that I read a few weeks ago, it was a similar, there was like a similar backstory with the main character. Her sister had married her ex-fiance or something.
Yeah.
And so I think that was in the front of my mind when I read that scene. And I feel like, oh, okay, that's interesting. 2 books in a row, like where the sibling marries the ex. Like, great.
No, that is a freaky coincidence. Even though it happens
Absolutely.
in romance books a lot more than it happens IRL, I would say.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, yeah, there's like, it's so weird. And I feel like it happens in like old times and romance novels.
Yes,
and like,
yes.
Again, because people are just so much more well adjusted in romance novels than they are in real life. So.
Totally. She gets to meet his parents at the ceremony, and it's kind of like how he described. He has a really nice, kind mom and like a colder, very like stereotypical surgeon dad. And at the reception and dinner, they're like going around and introducing Lucy to everybody in Josh's extended family. And like, this is when we start seeing cracks in like the facade, I guess, because they like don't know where he works or like anything really about him, which is like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like this is like underrated about like how much this book centers around like Josh's family like issues.
Yeah. Like, I really think that like what he went through is like maybe harder than the way he was making it out to be. Like, that's like, it's really hard to be like, you know, the number one thing is that like kids need to feel loved by all the parents that they have, right?
Yes.
He has a parent who clearly does not show love, and that's like so like traumatic. Like, I don't want to use the word traumatic because I because it's not like trauma, but it really makes such a huge emotional impact on people that like, oh, he like, that's what he needed to get past. And like, he actually did do a good job of it so far. Like, he's not an actual serial killer, so like, that's good. But like, yeah, like, to me, like, the father would make these jabs at him. You know, he makes a jab at him like while they're talking. He makes a jab at him that like when he makes the speech at the wedding.
Yeah.
And like, that was like, and then you see everyone is like at the wedding is like kind of like looking at Josh, kind of making him to be a spectacle because they're like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
And so like, it is like this weird like macabre wedding in a way. And like, if like my parents, like, for a parent to treat a child like that, like, I mean, that's horrible. And like, my wedding would be ruined if my dad made a speech like that, or if like my husband's dad made a speech like that and like dissed my husband's brother at our wedding. He'd be dead to me. You know what I mean?
Good point. Fucking Patrick and the mom stand up. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Truly. Or anyone else at that wedding. Like, does he have no other allies in the family? Like, I felt so bad for him.
Right. Yeah. And it kind of was just like, okay, I think it's like kind of the same thing you were saying of like the why now issue is like, why is Josh pursuing Lucy now? And it's kind of like, oh, why is Josh's dad being called out now? He did horrible things earlier that like his wife should have been like, you're a fucked up man.
Yeah. Like hello, these are our children and you're treating him like he's like a loser.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, he's like kind of like, yeah, I mean, I guess he mentions he was unplanned, you know, sure. Yeah. But like, even so, like, the father treated him like he was an unplanned, like, house plant, not an unplanned person. You know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah.
Totally. So Lucy's like, okay, everyone's looking at you like you're a zoo animal. Your dad just made this crazy speech. And you're not telling me what's happening. And he's like, okay, fine. I'm going to go to the bathroom and then I will spill the tea. And then
she runs into the bride, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mindy approaches her. Yeah. And is like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. It's so nice to meet you. Anyways, Josh is my ex and that's why things are weird.
Yeah. And so, and she says it like, oh, you know, I guess you knew the story, blah, blah, blah. And she's like,
I did not know the story. Yeah.
Which honestly, Josh should have said something. Like, even if like, because he kind of reveals like, oh, I brought you here because of my dad and my issues with him. Like, I'm over her, which we believe, sure. But regardless, if you're like, yeah, I'm going to the wedding of my ex-girlfriend and my brother, like, and I'm bringing a new girlfriend, you don't say something, like, come on,
Totally,
Josh.
totally. Actually, yeah. Yeah. I did not put this on Josh at all, but you're right. Why the fuck did he not tell her sooner?
Yeah, like again, he's so in love with her. He like, I
Yeah.
mean, Mindy doesn't mean anything to him, so obviously he didn't like kind of register. So again, it's another human mistake that we make
Yeah.
when we're in an enemies to lovers romance. We all make mistakes, but still, come on, Josh,
Not
come on.
not setting her up for success.
Yeah,
So she like leaves crying, and Josh's mom finds her and is like, she's like, great, Josh is just using me to make Mindy jealous and like to show up with a date to this wedding that everyone
yeah.
thinks he's like a flop at.
Yeah, like he's like kind of like using her as like a decoy, like whether or not
Yeah.
it's like he's kind of using her as a way to be like, see, I'm not miserable, see,
Yeah,
you
which
know, and
like
it's like
is kind of still true even though he's in love with her.
absolutely he is used, like he there is a level of she is being used, she has ulterior motives
Yeah.
that are selfish, you know, even
Yeah.
though they're here for a good time, whatever. I feel like if he was honest with her from the get-go and was like, my brother's whatever, and she would be like, then I am coming with you and I'm gonna be my best self, you know what I mean, and
No,
then she like fucks
literally.
up.
No, seriously, like I feel like because she's so competitive, if
Mm-hmm.
he would have been honest, she would be like, "Okay, well, we're going to like undermine their entire wedding."
Yeah,
And
like
like
we'll be getting married, but
yes, yes. Yeah, like
but maybe.
you'll be proposing to me during the ceremony. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
The mom's like, he's not like playing a game, like he's obsessed with you, he talks about you all the time. And Josh finds the two of them and he's like, I don't give a fuck about Mindy, but she is so mad that he was parading her around the
Mhm.
wedding. So she tries to leave just as, of course, Danny calls to update her about the
Yeah.
project.
Mm-hmm.
Josh hears that and is jealous, and then he finally breaks down and just says, it's not Mindy, it's my dad. We have had a riff. Like, I haven't talked to him for 5 years. And he's the
Mm-hmm.
reason, well, like, that I kind of pursued medical school, even though I didn't want to. I, like, interned at a hospital, thought it was, like, so gross.
Yeah, like it's just like he had a funny story where it was like he wanted to vomit or he did vomit or something. He was like
Yeah.
they had a cadaver or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he tried to stick it out to impress his dad, but couldn't follow through. And, like, they weren't impressed when he did his MBA, when he was working at the
Mm-hmm.
publishing house, and it's just really sad. But no, what makes better is that they they have sex. Like,
Finally, fucking finally. And
yeah.
it's not to say that the other scenes weren't sexy and like it's not like I mean like orgasms have happened, you know, but
Yes,
like
yes,
yes, they finally like have sex in like however society sees sex in the traditional way. And it's hot. It's
yeah,
hot.
yeah. And they do it in the shower too. Like, they hook up in the shower the
Yeah,
next morning.
absolutely. They are like using this hotel room to its maximum potential, and I'm here for that.
Totally. I wonder, do you think Sally Thorne has a thing for enclosed spaces since they hook up in the elevator and the shower?
I mean, it really is like, you know, like I feel like forced proximity is
Right.
such a thing. And I think it's like it is a plot device that can amp up the enemies to lovers, which I love, you know,
True.
like but me like I mean, I just remember like there's a book where it's like two enemies have to like or what's it called spoon each other in the middle of the night or else they'll freeze to death, and it's just like this is great because they're like sleeping in a volcano, like it's something so ridiculous,
I
and I'm like I
know.
am here for
And I'm
this.
eating it up every single
Love
time.
it,
I love
yes.
it.
Like I have this like joke where like I would love to see a romance novel where it's like listen, there's only one bed. I can't sleep on the floor because there's snakes all over the floor. We have to both sleep on the bed. And I'm like, I would read the shit out of that. Like that,
Totally.
it doesn't
I'm
matter.
hoping that I'm in that situation one day.
Exactly. Yeah. I will sleep with snakes on the floor.
Totally. And again, the
Yeah.
characters are so in love with each other that they don't see any like logical thing. They do like the dumbest illogical things.
Yes. Yes. It's so good.
It's so good. And they have to go to like the wedding brunch, the day after wedding brunch. And she's like, okay, you'll be safe because you're with me. But she goes to the bathroom and they fucking attack Josh.
Yes. It's just like she can't even leave the room for 2 seconds without the family just losing. Thankfully, it happens at the after brunch where it's like, okay, it's only family going there. Everyone else is too hungover to go. So at least it wasn't at the wedding.
It's not the wedding. Like, thank G. But she comes back and she fucking stands up for Josh, 10 toes down. She rips him apart. She's like, he's going to be the new chief operations officer. Like, he's amazing. And you guys are like fucking assholes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you're wrong. Like, yeah, it was good. It was good. I really liked when she was like, I like all of you. I don't really like you.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, I loved that line. That made me laugh.
That's so
Yeah.
her. Like, yeah, that's just very in character.
Mm-hmm.
So they head back to the city, and Lucy is still freaking out because of the interview the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And so they play Truth or Dare, which sometimes I think too used as a plot device in romance novels.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's just because the book that I covered like 2 episodes ago also did this. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I feel like sometimes like you just like kind of coincidentally read the books where there's like a same trope, like one after the other, and you're like, oh, interesting.
No, okay, now that you're saying that, so I did the QB Bad Boy and Me that had this, the hating game, and then actually I was on the podcast Movies That Raised Us, and we covered the last To All the Boys I Loved Before movie, and it does it in that one too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Truth or Dare, Never Have I Ever.
Yes.
Like any of like the get to know you games. Like it's
poker,
like okay,
or whatever.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah. Oh, strip poker is something that I've seen so many times, and it's actually in one of my favorite books. And it's like, but I've seen it so many times, and I get it.
Totally. And she's like, know what? If you get it, I will resign and I'll be happy for you because like I love you and I'm scared about what's going to be the next steps, but they have that whole conversation that we detailed already.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But this is like the big reveal. I actually like, we're going to talk about the movie next, and I actually like the way that they did this in the movie way better. But he's like, I got another job. When I took that personal day, when I was in that big fight with the boss, it's because I was in another interview process.
Yeah, it was very satisfying for his character arc, I will say. But I will also say there was a level of it that was kind of anticlimactic.
Yes.
Because it wasn't like I wanted the whole like she's flying off to Paris and he reveals that in the terminal. Like I didn't need that, but like it was just like, okay, they had a nice weekend together. It ends with him saying that. And they do it. It's just like done in a very, I mean, granted, it is funny because it's like at a sexual moment. It's like a sensual moment and he reveals it to her. And then she kind of just switches and she's like, wait, what the fuck? Like the way the author because I listened to that part and then in the audiobook and I thought the narrator did a good job performing that scene.
Loved the narrator, by the way.
She was great. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that moment, it was, to say, I thought it was an interesting choice on the author's part to kind of make this kind of moment be as like in the same way someone would be like, can you pass the water, please? Like it's like it wasn't not, I don't want to say cinematic, but just the I was expecting like higher stakes maybe in the scenario,
Exactly. And it's exactly what we just talked about with the wedding is that he could have told her this 4 days ago.
Yeah.
And not had her stress out about this.
Yeah. I mean, granted, I will give Josh some credit because she does freak out and he
Yes,
knows when
yes,
she's freaking
yes,
out. And so
yes.
he is like kind of dealing with a ticking time bomb. So he can't just
Yeah.
like I get like, okay, you don't want to drop all these bombshells on one small person who literally cannot handle news.
No,
Like,
good fucking
I
point.
get it. I get it. But it's just like, okay, like I would have like Josh should like be like, here's a table of contents of all the truths I'm gonna tell you this weekend. Like we'll check off one by one. Be prepared.
Totally, totally. Let's talk about the movie.
Sure.
It is, at least in Canada, on Netflix.
In the US, it's on Hulu.
Okay. And it was released December 10th, 2021. And it stars Lucy Hale as Lucy,
Go figure.
of course, and Austin Stowell as Josh. And I couldn't find on the internet how much Sally had involvement, but she was involved and happy with how the movie turned out.
I will say, watching it, there was a lot. They did leave a lot of elements from the book in the
Yes.
movie,
Yes.
which I was surprised about because I feel like in a lot of book to movie adaptations, like I think sometimes like the movie just like changes so many different things, you know, and it's just like, oh yeah, okay, that's not that. But I was like surprised when they left the Smurf thing in, you know, like those little things. I was like, oh, that's weird. I wouldn't have expected it, and I liked it.
Totally. I would give this like a 10 out of 10 adaptation in terms of like, yeah, staying true to the book. Like, I thought also just like they really looked like the characters were described and they kept like
Mm-hmm.
her kind of quirkiness. And even just the office, like the set,
That was great.
it was
I
just
thought,
like I
yeah,
imagined.
you know, I love a good looking man, and Austin Stowell, you know, he was a like he wasn't my favorite. Like honestly,
Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about next.
yeah,
Thank
like
you.
I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to like every scene, like I just wanted to like give him a massage, you know, like it's just like with things like this, like when you have like a Ryan Gosling in the world or a Hugh Grant in the world, when they are in a rom-com, they are having so much fun. They are loving being there. And it's just like hard to watch someone where it's like you're kind of making it look like work and like have fun with this. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
Yes.
oh, I wanted to like shake him sometime. He had his moments, I will say, but
Yes.
I don't know. It was just like kind of like, oh, he just felt so like stiff. He felt too stiff. And I don't think that was like Josh in the book in a way, you know, where like, yeah.
Completely agree. Like, as again, aesthetically, keeping a lot of the dialogue, like there was
Yep.
the put your hands on me scene, like all of that type
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. So good. In terms of the actor, I like Lucy. Okay, so I think Lucy Hale did a good job and she actually,
Yes.
but okay, I'm also having a tough time because I watched this movie when it came out in 2021
Oh,
and then I
okay.
read the book and rewatched it in
Okay.
2025.
Mm-hmm.
So I sometimes I'm like, did I just think it was like aesthetically what the book described because I was already
Mm-hmm.
picturing it in my head because I had already watched it. So I'm unsure about that, but okay, don't know if they actually have good chemistry. I think Lucy
Yeah.
Hale is a really good actress and I think she actually did a good job of portraying Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
Austin with Josh, I think is also a mismatch, but the tea is that because they filmed this like during COVID.
Okay.
Like it was like a COVID production. Like they like
Mm-hmm.
had to like do the stop starty type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually casted one of the loves of my life's Robbie Amell.
Okay.
First time
He
I've
was in.
said that last name out loud. He was the guy in the Duff.
Oh yeah, he's cute. Yeah, like
So
he
cute.
like he. I feel like he was in some comedy on Amazon, and like
He's
yeah,
in
like he
everything.
exactly like he has timing, like he has comedy, like he can like, and it's just like oh, like he knows how to lighten up. You know that would have been
Yes.
fun. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so upset that it wasn't him because I think
Hmm.
actually his character in the Duff actually has some of the like ease that Josh has.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think he's also hotter.
right.
And I
Yeah,
love to see a Canadian king acting like
sure.
I
Gotta
just
represent.
gotta
Gotta
represent.
represent.
So yeah, I was like so sad about that. Do you think that they had good chemistry? Like not no.
Not no. I mean, honestly, it like No, I did. It's like like I feel like, when you have movies like I just watched the movie Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, and that was just like magic. And you have movies like Romancing the Stone, again, just like that's just like magic. And it just like it felt like he just like felt like some like just this statue at times. And like I get I guess like I wanted to see him be show the ugly parts of his character that we see in the movie, like don't not being afraid to get a little ugly,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see that. I think she showed it, but I didn't see it from him.
It also, yeah, I think it's like a classic case of just like a kind of low key generic white man
Yeah.
being successful, even though he's like, again, all the love to you, Austin, but like kind of average.
Yeah, like I think that like, it's interesting to see a romance novel that was, written, let's assume primarily for women, having it made for an audience that is men and women, i.e. a movie, and like kind of having people try to think what female viewers want, and they're like, oh, they just want eye candy, he doesn't need to do much, like he just needs to show up. And grant, because that's how like women were treated, in movies, like all they had to do was just like wear a bikini and that's work.
Yeah.
And I think maybe for some reason, or I assume, I mean, again, I am just assuming here, but like it just seemed like, oh, maybe he wasn't given enough to do, like they didn't, it was like they didn't it was like the movie didn't care about his character. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, of course we want to see a good looking man and we're fine, and I know I had fun watching the movie, I loved it, but like
Totally.
in terms of like the artistry of acting, like I don't know, I don't know. Yeah.
Completely agree, but I think you're right. Like I don't know, I didn't look at like who the director was or the producer or whatever, but I think you're
Mhm.
kind of right. Like I do think if this was like a major company that is just trying to maybe make a quick buck off of a popular romance novel and is not taking the care of like why women like, especially
Yes.
women like romance novels.
Yes, thank you. Yes, that's exactly it. The
Yeah.
why of it all. Like they just think like, oh, abs and a perfect smile. And it's like
Yeah.
that's not
And a
it at
suit.
all.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like
Yeah.
that's absolutely not it. And I think sometimes it's why like everyone says like rom-coms fail. And it's like it's the same thing. Like I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like when we see like, oh, women characters aren't fully fleshed out in male movies, like it's the same thing with the way you're portraying men in movies that like you are trying to make for women, like it's just like and it's like just write characters.
Yes, like 2D characters
Yes,
versus like a
yeah,
three-dimensional character, which they did so much in the book. Like honestly, Josh maybe even seems more three-dimensional than Lucy does.
absolutely. And honestly, like again, this is just like I don't mean this for every single romance, but it's why I'd rather, when I want the experience of a romance, I would rather read it than see it.
Yes.
Um Not only for
Yes.
that, but because like I feel like with romance, a lot of the plot happens inside of their brains. Like it's a lot of them coming to terms with this and that. And like there were a lot of cute things in this book that just couldn't, that obviously could not translate into a movie. Like I don't know, they were talking about like Josh and the way he would like eat Easter eggs growing up. And it's like that I've never put that in the movie. But it's so cool that we got that kind of perspective from the book, like it's just like a cute little like anecdote, and it's just like things like that like just romance novels allow you to be in the characters' brains so much more than a movie would. And so when I'm watching like a rom-com movie, like I would want it to be very cinematic and visual as opposed to like, I don't know, like thoughtful, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's just something missing, and like listeners should weigh in on movies that have done this well so we can watch them.
Yes.
Because I know that they're out there.
They absolutely are. Like, I mean, again, I thought Fall Guy was
Yeah.
such a great movie. There are other great ones where it's like they kind of like are like they realize that they are a movie. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
isn't just like crap, and it's like, or
Yeah.
it isn't just like whatever, like phoned in or something. And it's like, oh yeah, you remember, like you make it's like when it's made with love, it becomes something more. And it's
Totally.
made with just like, oh, let's just, factory get this out. I
Yep.
don't know.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. One of the differences in the book and the movie that I did not like is that in the elevator kiss scene,
Mhm.
she actually makes the first move.
Yes.
And I was like, no, that needed to, not that it's like, oh, the man needs to make the first move, but it's like the whole point of the whole thing that gets set up for their romance is that he does the fake date, the elevator, and the
Yes.
bouquet.
Yes. Yeah, it was a little like I would not be surprised if that was a point of discussion when they were doing the scene. If they were like, "Oh, maybe we should make it the woman so it doesn't look predatory
Or
or whatever."
like a real, they always were harping on that it was
Yeah.
an HR situation because he would like call
Hmm.
her like horny eyes. And like
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah.
and like you're right, maybe it was like a, I guess, I don't know, was it like post Me Too movement, I don't
I
know.
think it is. I think like I mean like it's just like it was, at that time like people were kind of just like
Feeling it
scared of,
out,
yeah,
yeah.
like scared of doing or saying the wrong thing, which,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, like I think like she's really horny in the book. She's so horny in the book. And I
Hmm.
think like the movie did a good job showing her level of horniness,
Yeah,
like in a
yeah.
very good way.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they wanted to like also show that horniness with her kind of being more in charge in the elevator scene when she didn't really need to
Right.
be.
Right.
It's like it's hard to, well, I mean, I don't know, but like it's like she she willingly submits in the book, like she wants this obviously.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, would that come across on screen as well? I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Is there any other, like there's a few other differences. Her interview project's different. He
Hmm.
tells her that he's resigned a lot sooner in the movie. No, sorry. He tells her that he's resigned
The last
at
scene
the
or
last
something.
scene,
Like it's like
sorry.
the last line.
Like
Yeah.
she does the interview.
Hmm.
So it's the
Hmm.
opposite of what I just said. Yeah, any other like points that
I
you want to bring
mean,
up?
they did like, I mean, they do talk a lot about Lucy's loneliness
Yeah.
in the book, which
Yes.
I really liked because we
Yes.
are a society where we are all isolating ourselves. And I feel like there was something like I really loved the idea of her friendship breakup. That, I mean, the friend isn't even brought in, but just like friendship breakups hurt and they are heartbreaks, and it comes up in her story. She thinks about her parents a lot. Her parents have a bigger role in the book, and it's just like, again, like the book just like, again, because it's a book, just allowed room for like these more fleshed out kind of subtle backstories that we could like really just like dig our fingers into.
Completely agree. I also just realized how relevant, maybe this is why I liked it so much. Maybe if I read it in 2016, I wouldn't have liked it so much. How
Mhm.
fucking relevant is this book
Yeah.
in terms of like her basically, because of the cost of living and
Hmm.
jobs are so hard to come by, that we're all working our fucking asses off,
Yeah,
and that we have to prioritize work over relationships,
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
that you could have people let go, including
Hmm.
your kind of best friend, and then all of a sudden you're isolated.
Hmm. Hmm.
That is like so real right
It
now.
absolutely is. And like, and I think that like, I, my biggest heartbreaks have always been friendship breakups. It's never been anything like being
Oh, of
dumped or
course.
anything. And
Yeah.
so like, I feel like when I see that in a book and it's kind of like really poignant, of just like, this was my best friend. Like they're like your family. They're like, your other, they're like an extra limb and
Yeah.
suddenly they're gone. And it's like, it's, yeah, okay, they weren't having sex with each other, or maybe they were, but who knows. But like I just like it, I really felt it because I think friendship breakups are things that like a lot of people go through that kind of aren't as maybe dramatic as a romantic breakup is. maybe not as symbolic and artistic as a romantic breakup, but man, is the heartbreak just as much, you know?
Totally. Yeah, it's like the like not as accepted type of
Mm-hmm.
breakup that people don't like value or support as much as a romantic one.
Absolutely. Cause like again, you know, I live out in Los Angeles and like, okay, I'm talking a lot, but I mean I
No,
live out
I
in
love
Los Angeles.
it. Go ahead.
Okay, like, you know, and I'm trying to like make a career in, you know, writing and you know, I'm also like interested in kind of like, you know, reading about like what makes a good romance novel and then, you know, whatever. But I feel like something that people never want to touch is like the value of friendship. And like working for kids shows, like friendship is always prioritized above all else. It's like friends above all else. And I completely get that. I completely understand like this is for kids. You don't want to show anything that's like too upsetting, but I feel like sometimes like maybe kind of the content that like I would love to be involved in like sometimes like skirts around the fact that like friendships end and like what do we do with that, you know, like kids are
Yeah.
watching friendship being the best on television but in real life maybe they are having a friend who's like going off with other kids, like what does that mean, like does it make kids feel bad, and so like and so oh my god, so like I guess maybe this is all to say like it's okay, like I'm like little Becky on the playground, it's okay your friends went to play soccer, you know. But yeah, so this is all to say like I feel like friendship can be like kind of deconstructed as much as romance can, and
Absolutely.
yeah.
I talk about this with friend of the pod Megan all the time
Mm-hmm.
because she is not single anymore, but we had been single for a while together, and
Yeah.
just talking about like how you become literally devalued as a single person, and
Yes.
that the only types of relationships that people prioritize or value typically in your late 20s to 30s and
Mm-hmm.
40s
Mm-hmm.
is romantic relationships. Like
Yeah.
you're like again like a freak if you like went on like a trip with your BFF and not your like boyfriend or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like my friend and I are going on a couples trip, like,
Yes.
and like we have to do we have to, we're doing a couples massage and it's like,
Fuck
we're just
yes.
friends, man. You know, I'm like so excited for it. And it is hard because I think that like, you know, we're saying that like, you know, these are choices, but they don't really feel like choices. And then when people are kind of owning that it is a choice, everyone else is like, what? You're not married? You know, like, I don't know. It's,
Totally.
yeah,
It's
I totally get it.
complicated, but
Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree. And I liked that it was really explored in the book and in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, the movie had to be what it had to be, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna like fault it. I thought it was like a pretty solid adaptation. And
Yes.
so yeah, you know, I but again, it's a story. If I were to want to be in it, I would rather read it than watch.
Totally. Okay, let's wrap up with our roundtable discussion.
Yes.
Our internet investigation. This is our cursory peruse of the internet of things you need to know. We talked about Robbie. It would have been so much better with him. I will like fucking die on that hill.
Yeah, you need a funny guy. You need someone a funny guy for these kinds of things,
He's
and it's like,
so
yeah,
charming. He's
mm-hmm.
so charming, and I feel like
You need a
really
charmer.
yes,
Yeah,
underrated. And Josh is charming, so
yeah.
find too much else, which was interesting. Our wonder whys, these are unanswered questions for the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
My wonder whys, and like we've discussed this, but like sometimes the bit of hating each other goes on for so long, and I'm just like, you need to go to therapy, or like
Yes.
you need like
A hobby.
yes like and Helen was being like, oh, like are you sure you hate him and like stuff like that, so I appreciate her, but
Mm-hmm.
like, and I guess she didn't have any friends to like kind of like grab her by the shoulders and shake her a little bit, but boy did
Mm-hmm.
she need that. Like
Yes, she definitely, and but the thing is that like, yeah, she definitely needed it. And I think that's like that was so that's kind of why it took her character so long to kind of like come around. And like she like if she had a best friend like saying like this guy is into you, we would not have the moment of when he says I love you and she's like me.
yeah, literally.
You know?
Why though? I guess it's building tension, I guess, is the like, why is it so, I guess it's like the slow burn tension building. But I'm like, sometimes I'm like, are you that like emotionally unintelligent? Like,
Yeah, it's like you really are playing stupid. And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and it's like, are you playing? And I guess a part of me is like assumed yes, just because like they've been so stupid in their like little games before that they're just gonna like stick with it and just be pests, you know, and the sexy ones at that. But like, um, yeah, like it is like it is hard when you're like, okay, like, is this character being written to the top of their intelligence? Like, does this feel grounded and real? And would someone not notice that?
Yes, like she is emotionally intelligent. Like when Helen is dealing with Mr. Bexley, she has like the French macarons and
Yeah.
like I'm like you're and like she is really intelligent with her parents, like how her mom gave up a lot to support the farm and stuff. And like so I'm just like, why in this one area are you like a
Mhm.
dummy? But
Yeah.
I'll never
And
know.
the thing is that there could be a good justification for it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you know, like, but if there isn't, it is kind of hard to kind of just, you know, kind of fully grasp, like, lady, come
Come on,
on.
girl. Come
Yeah.
on. Okay, our gripes and grumbles. These are nitpicky problems we have with the book. My favorite section of the pod. Okay, can we not call Mr. Bexley fat little dick?
Yeah. But it's interesting, like, there were like some terms that like I feel like were in it that, yeah, like fat. I
Yeah.
was there a reference to like brain damage that felt a little like, ooh, you know, like, or
Yeah.
I could be thinking of something else that I watched and saw in the last 3 days, but wherever it was bad. No, but yeah, there was like Josh. I felt like sometimes like he went to the gym twice a day, and it's like
Baby,
that feels
that's
like an
yes, that's disordered, babe. Like
yeah,
100%. I was like, and his regimented eating, like when he was like,
yeah.
well, we're having omelets tonight. I hope you're happy with that because that's what's on the schedule.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, at least it's protein and there's vegetables. I'll give you that. But like, just like the way it felt close to like you're doing all the things like like a gym bro, maybe even someone with an eating disorder would do. And it's like, oh,
100%.
yeah,
100%. Because like he kept being like, I only eat like, yeah, like chicken and greens. And like when she looks in his fridge, it's like hummus and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
And just like his obsession with, yeah, like working out and stuff. I was like, ugh, I don't need that.
Yeah, and it's like I get it. He needs to look good, but he could look good just because of jeans. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
yeah, and like I don't know, but yeah, it just like going to the gym like twice a day. I just think you that to me, I reads you're the most uninteresting person in the entire
No,
world.
literally. I was like, at least Lucy has the Smurfs. You watch
Yeah.
ER and fucking work out all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And it's like if you work out while you're watching ER, focus on ER, you know, like and
Literally.
just like no one cares about your biceps, you know.
I know. It was kind of crazy. And then he's like always talking about how women only want him for his body. And I'm like, just stop going to the gym so much. Like, problem
Yeah, and it's
solved.
like exactly, it's like you care. It's like people are caring about your body because
You
you're
care
caring about
about
your
it
body.
so
Like that's
much.
how, yeah, it's like
Which,
what
like,
you're
you should
putting
care for
off.
your body, but not in maybe this way.
But he was nitpicking his body, and like
Yeah.
that's a problem, you know. And
Yes.
I think that
Yes.
like if he was prioritizing the way his body looks above everything else, other people are gonna do that too. And
Yeah.
it's just this like kind of snake eating itself.
100%. The other thing, why was she so obsessed with like staring at him all the time? Cuz
Yeah,
like
the staring game is so funny.
it was funny when it was like across the desk, but I was like when they were like watching TV and she was like I was just watching ER through the reflection of his eyes. I was like you need to be put down. Like,
Yeah, it's like it looks like they don't even blink. You know what I mean? Like it's like you look. That's again serial killer.
it's so serial killer because I was like, okay, like I get the like gestures cute and stuff like that, and it's showing how much she likes him and stuff like that. But I was like, A, you're trying to prove that you don't just like this man for his looks.
Mhm.
And B, that doesn't play well IRL. Like maybe it's cutesy in
Yeah.
a book, but I'm like, that is fucking weird. Like,
Yeah, like I feel like that staring game, like it has to call for it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
when I think staring game, I think boredom, and you have to be so bored that the only game you can play is staring. Like that is like, it's like you whip that out at the worst possible moment.
Yes,
No one wants to play the staring game. You know what I mean?
Literally. Do you have any grapes and grumbles?
I feel like again the short thing, it was a little overplayed. I mean, maybe because I'm short. I I thought that I guess maybe I was kind of like a little like meh that I was able to guess that the wife was his ex-girlfriend. I
That's
think
a
maybe
really
like,
good one.
yeah. But again, like I also think a mile a minute. So again, a lot of it is just me as a reader. But yeah, no, I think that like the kind of the same gripes you had, I'd had. Yeah, yeah. Overall, though, I thought it was excellent.
Me too. I had a good time. Finally, our sequel scoop. This is our tea on upcoming sequel seasons or the general reception. No sequels, but it was really highly praised, enough to land a movie deal.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess I don't know, is Sally Thorne like a full-time writer now? Because like in her about page, it said that she works part, whatever. I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's like a bona fide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually was looking at her catalog too, because this is the only Sally Thorne book I've read, and she
Mhm.
actually doesn't have, like, I actually really appreciate when an author has like 10 or less books.
Yeah, same.
Because
Yep,
it's like, if
absolutely.
you've written like 30 books, I'm always just like, how, like, original.
Cocaine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stephen King cocaine.
Yeah. I'm just like, how are you doing this? It's kind of giving like the unedited Taylor Swift album vibes.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's like, do you do in author interviews at all, or like?
I have interviewed three authors,
Mhm.
surprisingly, two of them on my other podcast.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, obviously but that's great. Like, what a great guest on the podcast. But like, like just seeing like how long it takes to write a book, and when an author says that they're really slow at writing a book, I'm like, yeah,
Me
I
too.
like it more.
Me
I don't know
too.
why.
Me too. Me too. Me too. And we kind of answered all of our listener questions, but the last one, which is like, some say the movie is better than the book, but we both preferred the book.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I think if you're a reader, if you're like, I actively hate reading, then yeah, you're gonna then I'm sure that the movie is better. But
Totally. And that question was submitted by Alexandria at Romance at Its Finest. That is all. Any final thoughts on the hating game?
I mean, I just want to say thank you for having this as an option. It really like there's nothing like reading just like a wonderful contemporary romance in the midst of everything going on, and it's
Literally,
just like,
literally.
like, and again, like, it's always with you. Like, I would just like this, like, things are happening around the world that are terrible, but like we have a podcast coming up and we read such a pleasant, fun contemporary rom-com. Yeah, I thought this was excellent, and I loved the experience.
Me too. Me too. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you and anything else you want to plug?
Yes, absolutely. So my podcast is called Too Stupid to Live. We review romance novels $5 and under. You can find the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also on Substack, where I have a fictional podcast. If you want to listen to that and other fun little articles and stuff. So it's tstlpodcast.substack.com.
Amazing. And I'll link everything in the episode show notes.
Yay!
Thanks so
Awesome.
much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. I got to get you on mine.
Please. I would be
Yay!
my pleasure. And that's the story of the hating game. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Becky for joining me on today's show. Sorry again for a late episode. I've been so busy at work, and this is a hobby podcast, so sometimes it does fall to the wayside, but I've been putting in a lot of work to get some really fun guests and choose some really fun books for this spring. So I'm really excited for that. And if you've been enjoying the show, subscribing and leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify helps the pod find new listeners, which is always important, so we can build out the RTBR community. You can suggest a book. Now's the perfect time as I'm scheduling all these guests, or leave a voicemail with a question via the links in the episode show notes. Our next episode is Onyx Storm. Until then, happy reading. For Ready to Be Romance, I'm Tori. Goodbye.